Hello and welcome. I'm Barkha Dutt, and those pictures capping a day of high political and legal drama. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi making an appearance in court in connection with the allegations in the National Herald's controversy, in which the petitioner Subramaniam Swamy of the BJP has accused them of a property grab, of controlling property worth 2,000 crores for only 50 lakh rupees. We'll be looking at the controversy but also the politics of it, because the hearing in court just lasted 5 minutes, and right after that, bail was announced for both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and the other accused, and the court spoke of them having deep roots in society and not needing any restrictions on their travel as well. The next hearing will be in February. But the political question is this: as soon as Sonia and Rahul came out and spoke to the media, they had one target, and they claimed victimhood at the hands of the Modi government. Listen to what Sonia Gandhi and her son had to say.
आज अदालत में मैं साफ मन से पेश हुई हूँ, जैसे कि किसी भी कानून का पालन करने वाले नागरिक को करना चाहिए। देश के कानून बिना किसी भय और पक्षपात के सभी के ऊपर बराबर लागू होते हैं। मुझे जरा भी संदेह नहीं है, सच्चाई सामने आएगी। हम अपने राजनीतिक विरोधियों के हमले और उनके निंदा के अभियान से पूरी तरह वाकिफ है। यह सिलसिला पीढ़ियों से चला आ रहा है। यह और बात है कि ये लोग हमें कभी भी अपने रास्ते से हटा नहीं पाए। मौजूदा केंद्र सरकार अपने विरोधियों को जानबूझकर निशाना बना रही है और इसके लिए वो सरकारी एजेंसी का पूरी तरह से इस्तेमाल कर रही है। हम में से कोई भी डरने वाला नहीं है। इनके खिलाफ हमारी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी। कांग्रेस के सिद्धांतों, कांग्रेस के नीतियों और गरीबों के हितों की रक्षा के लिए हमारा संघर्ष जारी रहेगा।
मैं कानून का आदर करता हूं। मोदी जी झूठे इल्जाम लगवाते हैं और वो सोचते हैं कि विपक्ष झुक जाएगा। मैं हिंदुस्तान के हर नागरिक को बताना चाहता हूं कि मैं और कांग्रेस पार्टी नहीं झुकेंगे। मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि हम गरीब लोगों के लिए, कमजोर लोगों के लिए लड़ते रहेंगे, हम विपक्ष का काम करते रहेंगे और हम एक इंच पीछे नहीं जाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
All right, Rahul Gandhi, they're saying that it's the Prime Minister who's responsible for allegations that he's calling false in the National Herald case. Sonia Gandhi also speaking about the political opposition trying to throttle and block the Congress's way. Is the Congress playing a victim, something that will work for them politically? Is there any substance to their argument? Why are they targeting the Prime Minister after a day in court? What does the court have to do with the BJP? Let's take you straight to our face-off now. We're joined by Abhishek Singhvi, senior leader who actually represented the Gandhis in court today, as well as Nalin Kohli, BJP spokesperson and a lawyer himself. Abhishek, let me start by asking you to explain to us what is the connection between the political formulation we heard from the Congress president and vice president and the proceedings in court? It seems that one has nothing to do with the other, yet this was the first statement that the Gandhis made after they got bail.
I will give you a full explanation. Just give me 120 seconds and it will be really useful because this perspective must be understood. First, Barkha, we don't believe that there is any political connection with what happens in court. We have nothing to say on court verdicts which is political, but there is a second political dimension, and we highlight it because we find no contradiction in that dimension, the legal dimension. What is that dimension? The person set up to file this complaint is a senior BJP political functionary. The counter suggestion that he was not a BJP functionary when he filed the complaint is completely irrelevant. That complaint languished for 2 years. Nothing happened. Dr. Swamy got active on that complaint only after he actively joined Mr. Modi's election campaign, namely in 2013 and more particularly in 2014. The summons was issued post 2014 change of government.
Okay.
Dr. Swamy really activated the complaint much later.
Okay.
Thirdly, Dr. Swamy brags openly and proudly proclaims on your channels that he has changed the ED officer dealing with it. Dr. Swamy today makes petty political opposition even to virtually a routine automatic bail situation by saying, do not give passport, do not put travel restrictions.
Yes.
Senior ministers of the seniority of Mr. Jaitley comment on the merits of the case every day. So the allegation of the Congress party, the comment of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi is to initiate such political motivated cases, to keep them pending, to make such false allegations is all a political vendetta. What the court does, we are proud of and we are sure of winning. We are confident, which is why we submitted to the jurisdiction of the court. That is, it is the BJP which is deliberately saying that we are mixing up politics with law because they want to hide. And one last thing, Barkha, I just hope and pray that rewards like allotment of Lutyens Delhi bungalows is not a reward, at least partially, for services rendered and ongoing in the National Herald case.
I will put that.
I say it because Dr. Swamy, just half a second, let him answer fully. Dr. Swamy has had security for years. He has been having it at Nizamuddin.
Yes.
For him to suddenly need, because of security, a Lutyens Delhi house is completely irrelevant because he has done without it for all this while.
Okay.
For 1.5, 2 years now, he suddenly gets it.
Many different points, and I'll put it to Nalin in a moment, but I have one more question for you, Abhishek. Why is it today?
I've already answered vendetta.
Yeah, vendetta you've answered.
Yeah.
My question is, on the day of the court hearing is the day when we discover that the Congress has decided to try and convert the Associated Journals company as well into a non-profit company. Isn't that an admission that something wrong did take place and you are trying to correct it just as you're approaching the court?
I think it's a very important question, Barkha. First of all, anybody who knows criminal law knows that what I do subsequent cannot cure any criminal offence. So that could never be the object.
Okay.
But this is a very important question because you must understand a remarkable irony in what is happening. For 70 years, National Herald brand properties were all owned by HEL. It was no restriction on the shareholders of HEL. They could squander the entire property, sell all the shares. No criminal complaint, but complete freedom, no limit. We put a Section 25 ring fencing by getting HEL owned by a Section 25 Young India company.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we put an additional safeguard and we get a criminal complaint. Now we have proposed officially under the Companies Act, by a notice, a second ring fencing. An additional creation of a 25 company.
Why now on the day of the hearing?
It's been there. No, 1 minute. It's been there. The notice still points out it's been pending for 3 years.
But the notice
we
is
had
out
got
today.
the opinions. Yes, because in 2012 Dr. Swamy filed this complaint. So we said let's wait out for it. Now that the summoning order has been upheld by the High Court, we said that we have done nothing wrong. We have decided it 3 years ago. The notice says so.
Okay,
so
I think we must allow Nalin to come in now.
How can the timing have any relevance?
We'll explore that more, but Nalin, the cry of vendetta remains. The Prime Minister is personally named by Rahul Gandhi. Is the BJP concerned that the Congress has tried to and maybe succeeded in creating a moment of embarrassment into a moment of political martyrdom? It comes in the same week as Kejriwal's office has been raided. It could play a role in galvanizing and uniting the opposition. The BJP can object, but the fact of the matter is that mainstream media was for hours today on the Gandhi's day in court. Did they succeed in positioning themselves as political martyrs, and is that what's concerning the BJP today?
I'd like to first respond to what Dr. Singhvi has said and then answer this, because these are two separate points. Let's go back to what Dr. Singhvi is saying.
Yes.
Dr. Subramaniam Swamy was not a member of the BJP in 2012.
Yes.
As he was not a member of the BJP when he was a close friend of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the late Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, up to 1991 till his death.
Okay.
And he was not also a member of the BJP when he, on Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's insistence, brought down the NDA government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1999. So if all those qualify him to be the mask of Narendra Modi ji now, then by that logic, he should have been the mask of Sonia Gandhi or Mr. Rajiv Gandhi at that time. Okay. So the Congress is essentially trying to build a political case, perhaps because they find themselves constrained on legal merits. If there's respect for the courts, if there's no fear of the facts being in their case, why did they challenge the summoning order in the High Court? Because the High Court has come out with a reasoned 27-page order which has sharp comments. Read para 29, read para 32, 38. I mean, it can't get sharper than that.
Do you want to respond to his
now,
insinuation
I
that the bungalow to Dr. Swami, that the bungalow to Dr. Swami is an extension of a kind of reward for his what Congress is calling his services in this case?
No, Barkha, I request, and I with humility request, don't interrupt my flow. I'm only asking for the time that you've given and the patience you've shown to Dr. Singhvi. I will answer everything and go as beyond as you wish. But when my flow is broken, we waste time of the program. So I need to again come back to where I was. My point was simple, that Dr. Swami's credentials are being questioned. They were challenged also in the court case. That has been dealt with conclusively in para 29, because there is a substantive element of public money even involved in the 90 crores that was given to AJL and has been assigned for 50 lakhs and written off. However, now coming back to the next question, security, that's a self-goal. What did Mr. Vadra or Priyanka Gandhi need a house for? There are 20 other Congress leaders who have got houses in Lutyens, Delhi that they were possibly not entitled to for any other reason. Now, if that was done, how does that in any way mean that it is connected to the National Herald case? Let's go to the next point.
Very important.
That in the National Herald case, here it is that Dr. Singhvi says, only after the NDA government came in that a summons were issued. So by that is an inference to be drawn that the NDA government, according to the Congress party, is essentially driving the courts to send out a summon, and therefore the courts are acting in a motivated manner. That's a dangerous comment. Let's go a next step further. Why this ring fencing and all this is being said? The Companies Act was envisaged to be changed under the UPA. The complaint of Dr. Swami came in under the UPA. The investigation continued during that period. The courts decided to issue summons at due time, happened to be after the new government was brought in, some 1 month after the new government was sworn in. How are these connected? Now to find Mr. Modi's hand in everything is as ridiculous, ludicrous and preposterous as saying Mr. Modi is responsible for in a corruption case involving the Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister who deposits money in a bank account in the name of Apple Orchards and finds himself at the end of a corruption case. Or anything else. Ultimately, the BJP or Mr. Modi, as Prime Minister or otherwise, is not involved in this.
I think I must
the Congress is free to go ahead and argue it in court. If they find they don't have a case there, don't build this political vendetta thing when a matter is in the courts. Unless you feel that your case is weak in the courts.
Now that both of you have had lengthy opening statements, Abhishek Singhvi, the fact of the matter is it is extremely strange for Sonia Gandhi to invoke Indira Gandhi and talk about being a bahu and screaming vendetta, because it almost comes across as if a family believes that it is above the law. That's the allegation from the BJP, 1. 2, Sharad Pawar in his memoirs made a comment. He said the Gandhis believe the party is their family fiefdom. Do you not believe that a young Indian company that plays 76% in the personal ownership equity of Rahul and Sonia Gandhi reaffirms the image of the Gandhis being interchangeable with the Congress? Even if what the Congress says on the National Herald case is true, why was this ownership given to 2 individuals? Are the Gandhis the same as the Congress? Is Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi equal to the Congress party?
First of all, Gwarkha, we are discussing a criminal charge, a criminal proceeding.
Yes.
All this why if, what if not are completely irrelevant to a criminal charge. Completely. We are not discussing politics or gupshup over a picnic situation of a civil claim or a tortious liability. We are discussing criminal law. Criminal law is simple. You have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that a criminal offence is committed. There is no question that there is no criminal offence so long as A, property does not move, property has not moved from AJL. B, that because of movement there is misappropriation. There cannot be misappropriation if there is no movement. C, the transfer is to a Section 25 company where if I want to cheat, it cannot cheat. Now that part, let me answer the second point because I don't want to repeat on vendetta ad nauseum. I've said what I wanted to say on vendetta. But second point is important. This thing about Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, there is a very great fudging there going on. Priyanka Gandhi has got, because of an SPG protectee, a house from inception. Her spouse lives with her in that house as a spouse. There is no allotment of the kind Dr. Swamy has got. Please understand the implication. There is a PI and a Supreme Court order which is evicting people who are staying in houses. Dr. Swamy has stayed with his security happily for years. Suddenly the government, on the ground of his existing security, gives him a new Lutyens home saying that the Lutyens' home is necessary to house his security.
But why are you seeing
which is
a
the
connection
same as that for
between
several
that
years?
bungalow and the hearing, Abhishek?
No, I am
Why
just
are you seeing a
clarifying.
connection
I am just
between
clarifying the
the bungalow
answer.
and the hearing? Why are you seeing
No,
a connection? Why are you seeing a connection?
I am entitled to connect. Let me answer. The fact one is that Dr. Swami is carrying on a politically motivated campaign. Fact two is that he is a complainant here who has acted at the behest and constantly interfered with government machinery to prove the point that he is running
How
the
has
show.
he interfered with machinery?
The third point
How has
is
he
that he has
interfered
been
with government machinery. You use the sentence.
He has officially said in your channel that he changed the ED. He's himself saying
well,
every
we'll
day
have him on the
that he will
program
do this
we'll
and
put that
that.
question to him. We'll
Now,
put that to him. But
now one minute. Let me finish. Now, the third point is that he has got allotment today. Now, I am connecting the dots with a legitimate political inference because he is a standalone case. Not a single other case has a case that an existing security setup has been converted into a Lutyens' house. Providing security to you, Barkha, is very different from providing a house. That's the point.
okay.
And thirdly, Barkha,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
vendetta.
Yeah.
We are a political party. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are leaders of a political party. Court procedures are separate. What we argue in court is separate, sober, dignity and nothing but that, but law. When you come to the AICC headquarters, there is a emotion of thousands of people who congregated there to show solidarity, to show support. That is natural in democracy. It is a part of a political party. To them, she pointed out and he pointed out that they will stand firm in the face of
Okay, let
every
me get
onslaught.
Nalin now.
And I
Nalin,
think that's a legitimate political comment.
Nalin, let me ask you a political.
Barkha, no, let me respond first.
Okay,
Just otherwise,
okay,
yeah,
all right.
just very briefly.
Okay.
First of all is, yes, it was a historical moment at the AICC. There's no doubt about it. Because this is the first time that the Congress president and the vice president were there in court seeking a bail. I mean, the last time this happened was when Narasimha Rao went to the court and he decided to, at that time, in 97, if I recall correctly, resign from the post of the Congress president before he went. So it was historic because it's a new thing, completely never happened. The second part to it is about criminal law. Well, those arguments Dr. Singhvi and others have already put across in the trial court, they put it across in the High Court. And what we read out there in that 27-page order of the High Court clearly is demolishing it. They've not challenged it. Some of the comments are very strong. Fraudulent flavor, criminal intent, locus standi has been dealt with. So these issues, unless challenged, are taken in finality. So therefore, that is now up to them, whether they want to take it to the next court or not, to the Supreme Court. That's their right. They are not denied of it. There's no prevention of it. The third point is on Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. If whatever Dr. Subramaniam Swamy says is law, as he pointed out on an example on your channel, which I haven't seen, about the ED, Enforcement Directorate, then Dr. Subramaniam Swamy has made lots of statements and comments about Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Ms. Sonia Gandhi. So would he take that to be law too? Because some of those comments are certainly not praiseworthy. So therefore, you can't be picking this and choosing your arguments because you don't have a strong case. Let's go to the allotment of the house.
Now, can I
Has
ask
the
a question?
house been
Nalin,
allotted
yeah.
on a request yesterday? Was the request made yesterday or does it precede it? The allotment date may be a matter of coincidence. So just because something happens, to draw an inference because it suits you, they are entitled to do so. But how much ground would it hold? That's a separate question altogether.
Now, Nalin, that was a very long answer. And Abhishek, hang on for a second. Now, let me ask you a question.
It's less than long as long as Dr.
No. Okay,
Singhvi
both of
spoke.
you.
We both have got long answers.
All right,
It's
good.
okay.
That's
The
fine.
nature
No
of the
problem.
discussion
No
is-
problem. We can have a civil and in-depth and intelligent
but we are
conversation.
having a civil. I don't think I'm being rude to
Not
Dr.
at all.
Singhvi or he's being
Not
rude
at
to
all.
me.
Not
or
at all.
vice
But
versa.
I have a political question for
Sure,
you.
please.
You're both lawyers, but really what's happened today is also about politics. And Nalin, the question is this. Has the NDA shown an absence of political instinct in managing to antagonize one political party after the other? For example, you have Mr. Khattar, the Chief Minister of Haryana, Nalin, today announcing an inquiry, a CBI probe into decisions taken by Bhupinder Hooda of land allotments in Panchkula, as you know. You have Arvind Kejriwal talking about vendetta. You have made an enemy out of him. He's now targeting the finance minister. You have the Congress saying vendetta. You have the Veerbhadra saying CBI raid. You have what's happened in Arunachal Pradesh. Have you, while parliament is on, you need the opposition, shown an absolute lack of political instinct?
That's one charge. Now let me look at the converse.
Yes.
Assuming what you are saying was not to be done on the merits of what existed, then there would be a converse charge even worse. That if corruption is being seen somewhere, and action needs to be taken, and action is not taken, would that be the correct approach? Certainly not. Now, in terms of whether parliament is to run or not to run, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, before the last session started, said we won't let Parliament run. It didn't run the whole session. In this particular session, there was an attempt made out by the government. The Prime Minister invited, and graciously, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Dr. Manmohan Singh, went ahead there, met with the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, and Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. What's happened to GST? It's probably an enigma. No one is able to understand, beyond the political circle also, why is GST cannot be passed. And when attempts have
but
been
I'm
made.
not asking you about GST,
So
I'm asking you about antagonizing the opposition.
I'm coming to the politics only. It is part of the politics. The politics is this. The Congress party is entitled to, as a party, have a viewpoint. The correctness or the falsehood of that point would depend on how the public goes ahead and evaluates it. We believe they are building a case, holding Parliament to ransom, because they have wanted to do it for political reasons. It started on the date when the order appeared from the High Court, which was 7th of December, if I recall. The next day, Parliament got stalled. Now to link it with 20,000 other things is an afterthought. They are entitled to have that afterthought, but that doesn't mean it's based on facts.
Okay, Abhishek Singhvi, let me ask you a legal question, and I know you want to respond to Nalin, but just one legal question for me. Can you confirm that that you will in fact be approaching the Supreme Court against the High Court order that uses the word criminality and criminal breach of trust in the context of the Gandhis? That is our information. Can you, as a lawyer in this case, confirm that to us?
Can I answer? Yeah. Let me answer the legal one first, and then go to the GST and the parliamentary disruption issue.
Yes.
We have all recourse to legal remedies, and we intend to invoke all of them. We have certainly not ruled out the right to go to the Supreme Court. 90 days are available, and technically speaking, 90 days not started, because I don't think we have certified copy yet of the High Court, and 90 days start from there. But even 90 days from 7th December, we have plenty of time. Yes, I agree with you that in all probability, for some of the remarks which are unnecessary and uncalled for, we may go to the Supreme Court, and most likely will. But I am saying something else, Barkha.
Yeah.
The same judgment makes it clear, and you can check the para, that this is ultimately my order in the High Court only on the summoning order, under which I am only considering whether a summoning order should be interfered with. I am not opining on the merits. I am not giving any finding. If what you are saying is correct, Barkha, the phrases used by Mr. Nalin Kohli and quoted by you would mean that we can't get bail, we stand convicted, if it smacks of criminality. Therefore, the judge says this is entirely a matter for prima facie view that this is not sufficient to interfere in a summoning order. Please, if you want, go back to the summoning court and deal with it there, which is what we are doing now. So don't take it as any indictment. But now let me come back very briefly to disruption, and I want to give only one example.
Last comments.
This word is used again and again. Yes, last
comments.
3 years of mulish, unexplained obstinacy, 3 years daily of mulish obstinacy on the GST is being forgotten by the BJP. Complete political, opportunistic, hypocritical, mulish obstinacy. They are preaching to us about obstruction. Now, when this government came, they knew exactly from day one, apart from their own volte-face on the GST, they knew from day one our 3 principled objections in writing.
Yeah.
First 6 months they spent in fighting those three objections, not responding. Next 3 months they fight on varying those 3 objections. Last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the Prime Minister reaches out.
Yes.
Could this not have been done by them 1 year ago?
Okay.
Who is obstructing? Who is unilateral? Who is functioning in ivory tower? Mr. Modi and his Council of Ministers.
Nalin, quick last comment.
Dr. Singhvi used some strong adjectives in terms of obstruction of Parliament. Unfortunately, those adjectives he has transposed it onto the Congress party, because today Parliament is being stalled by them and everyone's commenting on it. So I think that was an interesting comment for him to come out with such strong words against the BJP. There was a context then. Unfortunately, nobody is able to find a context now, because the joke doing the rounds is BJP stalled Parliament. Why? Corruption charges against Congress. Congress stalls Parliament. Why? Corruption charges against the Congress. Anyway, that's one part of it. The second part is in terms of reaching out. It's happened. So it's up to the Congress party. They are entitled to have a viewpoint whether they would like to use a legal case against a particular family, in this case the Nehru Gandhi family, and stall Parliament. They are in their rights to do so. The merits the people of India will decide.
All right, we leave it there. Abhishek Singhvi and Nalin Kohli, thank you so much for joining us. Abhishek Singhvi there, pretty much confirming that the Congress is going to be approaching the Supreme Court to look again at the reference to criminality in the High Court judgment. The High Court judge had, of course, spoken about a prima facie criminal breach of trust in the National Herald case. All right, we're staying with our special coverage. Lots of comments made about Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. Later in the program, he will be joining us as well. But let's introduce our newsmaker on the program today. With me here in the studio is a former Finance and Home Minister, P. Chidambaram. Welcome to the program. How do you see what has played out in court today? There was a sense that initially the Gandhis may choose to not furnish a bail bond. Instead, what we saw was a hearing that lasted no longer than 5 minutes. The next hearing in February, a bit of a non-event really, except for the fact that Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi chose to immediately target the Prime Minister after that. What does the Prime Minister have to do with what happened in court?
You sound disappointing that
as a journalist, we always hope for
you want a media
prolonged
event.
drama from any party.
Everything does not become a media event. I think they behaved with great dignity, offered bail bond, and the court granted them bail. That's the end of the matter.
But the political statement right after that, I'm trying to understand the connection.
The political statement stems from a series of actions. Firstly, criminalizing what essentially is a restructuring of a company. Then there were other actions.
But the judge did that, not the government.
No, the judge did not.
I mean, the judge decided that there was a prima facie case and allegation of criminal breach of trust.
The judgment is incomprehensible. I'm not criticizing the judge, but I'm entitled to criticize the judgment. The judgment says it's not necessary for him to identify which section of the law is attracted today. That's why I said the judgment is incomprehensible. Be that as it may. There are other acts committed by the government. Raiding a chief minister's office. Encouraging a governor to advance a session of the legislature without the cabinet's advice. These are unprecedented actions. Therefore, if there is a series of acts committed by the government or encouraged to be committed by the government, then one has to draw the conclusion that there is a method in the madness.
However, while the Arunachal Pradesh example you cite stands on its own merit, while the raids on the Chief Minister's office and his principal secretary have been argued through the week, in this particular case, the Finance Minister is on record to me saying two things. The Enforcement Directorate is not involved in the case. There is no notice from the ED. This is nothing to do with the Enforcement Directorate. This is nothing to do with the government. They further said there wasn't even a government lawyer in court today. The government has not taken a position. How do you connect it to the government and claim vendetta?
I think you didn't ask him the right question.
And what question should I have asked?
Was there a letter from the private complainant to the Prime Minister complaining against the then ED?
Mr. Katoch, but Mr. Jaitley denied.
Was there a letter or not?
If there was a letter, Mr. Jaitley further denied that the transfer had anything to do with this particular case.
Those are conclusions that must be left to the viewer. Was there a letter from the private complainant?
And if there was such a letter, it's not that the government listens to everything that Dr.
Swamy
suggests to them.
So you admit there was a letter, or you presume there was a letter, and within a couple of days after the letter, the director is transferred and a case is reopened. Was there a letter?
Yes, we believe there was a letter, but it is not necessary that the government would act on everything that Dr. Swamy
Why was a person who has been the enforcement director and was holding additional charge after his appointment to a post of secretary transferred, and the charge given to another person again is additional charge?
The question still remains, Mr. Chidambaram, that had the court decided that Mr. Swamy's petition did not have substance, the court could have thrown it out. You know this as a senior lawyer.
Again, you're getting into the debate on the merits of the case, merits of the judgment. You are entitled to think that the judgment is right, but I'm entitled to say that the judgment is wrong.
I'm taking no sides on the judgment. I'm merely making the argument that when a judge of the High Court, since we are asked to respect the judiciary, when a judge of the High Court believes that there are some serious questions that arise from this case and the Gandhis must explain themselves, then it is a bit odd for Mrs. Gandhi, for example, to invoke Indira Gandhi and say, I'm Indira's Bahu, I'm not scared of anybody. Arun Jaitley said that statement reeked of the political entitlement of a Delhi VIP, who says, "Tum jante nahi ho main kaun hu."
This is the finance minister's take on that statement.
Yes. What is your take?
That statement simply said, we are not scared if people try to intimidate us. That's the sense of that statement.
But why invoke the family? Is the family the same as the Congress?
Family was not invoked. All that she said was a matter of fact. Indira Gandhi faced intimidation by the government. She was not intimidated. So she said, I am not intimidated by the government. What is wrong with that? To make an argument out of that, I think is completely misplaced. The point is, we think that the judgment is wrong. Nevertheless, since the judge sent them back to the summoning court, they've appeared before the summoning court. I think they've acted perfectly admirably according to the book, and there can be no fault found with the way the Gandhis have acted after the judgment.
The political parade, the supporters, the politicization of what was a court judgment. Let me put it to you like this.
There was no parade, please understand. Patiala House courts are far away from the Congress office. Congressmen, including me, assembled at the Congress office in order to show solidarity with our leaders. There was no tamasha, there was no parade. Please don't spread the word or spread the message there was any parade. The court appearance was a dignified court appearance, respecting the court, applying for bail bond and getting bail bond within a minute. It was a routine appearance in a court.
I think we're also talking about what happened right after the court, which you've made your political argument on. But it could be said that the Congress is seeking to hide behind this word called vendetta in order to not answer some awkward questions that do arise from this case. Sharad Pawar, for example, who's an old ally, he was in government with you. He said in his memoirs and also in an interview to me that the Gandhis treated the Congress as their family fiefdom. When we see this young Indian company and we see that this equity, in a sense, has been taken over by young India, and 76% of that is owned by Mrs. Gandhi and her son, the question could be asked, why just them? Why did two of these people from the Congress have to own 76% of Young India, which Subramaniam Swamy says gives them control over real estate worth 2,000 crores? If this is Congress money, the ownership of Young India could have been spread across many leaders of the Congress.
See, I've seen and heard some comments.
Yes.
And I'm amazed by the ignorance of those who make those comments. The facts of the case are pretty simple. There are only 4 steps here. There's a company called Associated Journals Limited. Congress party lent money to that company in order to support a newspaper founded by Jawaharlal Nehru and others over a period of time. Step 1, that was. Nothing wrong. No section of any law is violated. Congress party assigns that loan to a Congress-controlled non-profit body. Perfectly valid, no law is violated. The Congress-controlled non-profit body offers to swap the loan for equity. Happens every day. Every day in the world it happens. Loans are swapped for equity.
The 50 lakhs for 90 crores.
That's the problem. 50 lakhs for 90 crores is not the swap. The swap is 90 crore loan for 90 crore equity. The 50 lakh for 90 crore is an assignment of the loan from the Congress party to a Congress-controlled non-profit body. It's still a Congress-controlled body, a non-profit body.
Is it a Congress-controlled, Mr. Chidambaram,
of course.
Or is it a Gandhi-controlled non-profit body? That's my question.
Young Indian is a Congress-controlled body.
With 76% in ownership
Makes no difference whether 100 people own 1% each or whether 5 people own 20% each. It still remains a non-profit body. Not one of them can take 1 rupee out of that company. Okay. Step 3 was swapping the loan. Perfectly valid, no law is violated. Step 4 is that the non-profit body becomes a dominant shareholder of AJL. But it is a non-profit body. Not 1 rupee has been taken out of AJL. Not 1 rupee has been received by Young Indian. Not 1 rupee has been distributed by Young Indian. And mark this, not 1 rupee can be distributed by young Indian. The assets you talk about, 2,000 crore, whatever, these
The real
fancy
estate.
numbers, that remains with AJL. All the assets of AJL remain with AJL. All the income of AJL remain with AJL. I think the facts are pretty simple to anybody who has bothered to look at the facts.
Two state governments, Maharashtra and the authorities in Madhya Pradesh, have actually moved to probe and review the land that was given on lease. The argument being that this land has been used for everything but a newspaper. So in Bhopal, you have a mega mart and a mall. In Mumbai, in Bandra, you now have an 11-story commercial building coming up. None of this has anything to do with the newspaper called National Herald.
A newspaper,
is this not misusing the terms of the lease on which the land was given?
A newspaper does not run on love and fresh air. A newspaper can only run with money. It must have income.
But where is the newspaper?
Wait a minute. The newspaper was closed because it did not have money. There is a proposal to revive the newspapers, what I read and hear. Take, for example, I don't want to name the newspaper, a very famous newspaper in Mumbai. Most of its income came from the real estate of that building.
You're talking about the Indian Express, but
I'm not mentioning any
But
name.
there is a newspaper there. There's no National Herald here.
Yes, because it was there. It was there. It closed down because it lost money. There's a proposal to revive it. In the meanwhile, if your assets can generate an income, what is wrong in generating that income as long as nobody profits from that income? Can you tell me, has anyone profited from the income of AJL? Has anyone taken a rupee out of AJL?
But the
has
Congress money...
No, please. You must answer that. Has anyone profited from AJL? That income remains with AJL. The assets remain with AJL.
One of the arguments is that the law has been changed while the UPA was in power so that even a not-for-profit company can be converted into a commercial entity. This is one of the... and I know it's prospective and you can't penalize somebody on something that hasn't happened. But politically there's a perception that this not-for-profit company that controls all this real estate could tomorrow be converted into a commercial entity, a for-profit company.
So you speculate it will be done. Why do you speculate it will be done?
But then you have given the Gandhis, 2 people, 76% control in a company that could prospectively be converted into a for-profit company.
One of them is the Congress president,
yes.
One of them is the Congress vice president.
Yes.
As long as they hold those offices, they represent the Congress party. There are other people on the board.
With nominal shareholding.
Doesn't matter. As I said, if 100 people own 1% each, or 5 people own 20% each, it makes no difference because it's a non-profit company.
You personally have also called the government foolish. You had a tightly worded statement talking in context of the Enforcement Directorate scrutiny of firms that they claim are related to your son. And you said it's a foolish government, it's out to harass your son and yourself. Do you believe you're the target in this and your son is the excuse? Because when I asked the finance minister this, he said those who are linked to those companies have serious questions to answer. But yet your statement was very strong. You gave 2 statements, the first time and the second time, and you were very dismissive and you said this is a foolish government.
No, I said I'd like to see how far a foolish government will go.
And what were you implying there?
Well, what I said, plain English language.
But you spoke of harassment.
What else is it?
Why do you believe? And do you believe the target is you and the political target, if you think it's harassment, is you?
I don't
know. The first
know
time you said, attack me, not my son.
I don't know who they want to harass, but let me make it clear. I will not be harassed. You can try. You won't succeed.
Why do you believe that the government is out to harass the opposition? Do you believe that there's also an element of convenient paranoia in some statements coming from opposition leaders? For example, Arvind Kejriwal is now saying that the CBI is out to destroy the opposition. That is his belief. We have seen a new probe, by the way, today ordered into Mr. Huda's decisions in Panchkula. But it could also be argued, Mr. Chidambaram, that if there is corruption and wrongdoing, then you can't not move against it just because it involves an opposition and you need to build bridges with it.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. But if more and more people are coming out to complain that the government and the party behind the government is using every tool, every agency under their control to intimidate opposition leaders, why are you dismissive of these complaints and think that the government is acting virtuously.
No, I am not taking any sides in this.
There
I'm
are
really raising the
serious
question.
issues in the raid on the Chief Minister's office. There are serious issues in the governor of a state calling an assembly session without the advice of the state cabinet. These are issues which cannot be wished away or explained as routine actions. There are serious issues there. And therefore, taking all these issues together, more and more people are inclined to believe that the government is hiding its incompetence. That incompetence was laid bare today by the mid-year economic analysis report put out by the chief economic advisor. Government is hiding its incompetence and inability to deliver on growth and on development by resorting to these actions. It's quite possible that one or two of these actions are based on genuine facts and there is misconduct there.
Yeah.
But if you take a series of actions and many of them are questionable, even the good will be driven out by the bad.
And you believe the Prime Minister is, because Mr. Rahul Gandhi named Mr. Modi.
Well, I don't know. I can only speak from what I know. I can't explain what Mr. Gandhi said or what anyone else said. I'm sure they will answer, they will explain if you put the question to them. I believe that the government is hiding its incompetence, hiding its inability to deliver on its promises 1 year, 7 months after it was voted to office by resorting to these indiscriminate, arbitrary, motivated actions.
Well, those are strong words, Mr. Chidambaram, former Finance Minister and Home Minister. It's a pleasure to have you on the program. Well, we just heard from Mr. Chidambaram, and now let's hear, I know what will be a completely different perspective from the private complainant, the petitioner in this case, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. He's on live with us now. Dr. Swamy, first let me start by asking you, how do you see what happened in court today? It took 5 minutes, the Gandhis and the others got bail. What is your takeaway from your day in court?
Well, it was they who said that they will not take bail. And I said, if you don't take bail, you will go to jail. And not only you will have to take bail, but you will have to give a surety and you will have to give a bond. They said they will do none of that. It will do on personal exemption. They didn't get personal exemption. They had to pay 50,000 as a bond. And then they had to have a surety. So Mrs. Sonia Gandhi got A.K. Antony, and Rahul Gandhi got Priyanka Gandhi, and other people got. So they had them all there. So what was all this drama about that we won't do, we'll go to jail, we'll stay. So it was a great victory on that front. That we made these people stand in court like anybody else and be equal before the law. And then the question came up of exemption. They didn't get exemption. Then I said that they may disappear without notice. So Sybil said, no, there will be never adjournment that we'll seek. Everything will be orderly. So I said, okay. Then the judge also said, well, I don't assume that people who have occupied such high offices would disappear. So I said, well, let's look at for the next hearing. Maybe if they turn up, then that's fine. Otherwise, I'll again move the petition that their passport should be deposited.
Yes. Abhishek
so I think I was very satisfied.
Abhishek Singhvi says that they never asked for exemption from the next hearing, because I put your comment to him and he said, we never asked for exemption. We're happy to appear in court in February.
Abhishek Singhvi can say any lie, you see. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Sybil said before me orally. And the judge said, no, they must appear in the next one. So he said, okay, then we'll file an exemption application in the next one.
Now, Dr. Swamy, the Congress has all day been saying that the fact that you've been given a government bungalow, a Lutyens bungalow as they're calling it, is your reward. I'm quoting Congress leaders, is your reward for your services in this case. How do you see this charge? And they're saying the Z plus security, the government bungalow, this is all for services rendered in the National Herald case.
Well, first of all, Z security I got when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, and it continued through, and then I think when the UPA came to power, they restricted the Z security to Tamil Nadu and to the southern states. Then when our government came, they said this is wrong, it can't be restricted, it's an all India threat, so they restored what Mr. Narasimha Rao had given to me in 1993. And then, by then, of course, I had left government housing and I had come to my private accommodation in Nizamuddin. And the CRP said, in Delhi, we can't give you coverage because we don't know where to stay. Your house is too small. So then it is CRP which first suggested that I be given a government bungalow. They asked me. I said, yes, I would. They said there is a rent that you'll have to pay. I said, I'll pay the rent if that's the condition of the CRP. So it's got nothing to do with National Herald. They are unnecessarily doing this. This is like that enforcement directorate. He registered a case and then closed the case and then they removed the thing. That's a total lie. That lie go on. I think they have learned it from the fascists. After all, you know what connections they have with the fascists. And therefore, they go on repeating these lies. Ask them to produce that this was a decision taken only after the High Court order.
But Dr. Swami, Dr. Swami, they say that you wrote 2 letters to the Prime Minister talking about your dissatisfaction with the then ED Director, Mr. Katoch, and his approach to the Enforcement Directorate case. And they say that you are on record saying that after that, the director was changed. We had him changed. So they are saying that.
I agree.
Do you stand by that comment? Firstly, do you stand by the comment that Mr. Katoch was removed?
I stand by the comment.
Yes.
Listen, first of all, you please listen. I said that he never registered a case. Therefore, the question of closing it in the rise. I was objecting the fact that the man had 2 jobs. I said he is hardly in the Enforcement Directorate.
Okay.
And that he, in fact, is an appointee of the previous government. Now he's gotten a promotion as Secretary of Heavy Industry. You must have a full-time ED Director.
Okay.
And that's a very reasonable demand, and he had got 4 extensions.
Now, is the Congress fair in surmising that it was your letters pointing these things out that had Mr. Katoch actually then moved out from this additional role? Because the way the Congress is seeing it, they're saying because he thought there was no merit in the National Herald case, Dr. Swami wrote to the PM acted on Dr. Swami's letter and transferred him out.
Did he register a case? Did he register a case?
No.
He never registered a case.
No, he did not.
Therefore, what is the meaning? I wanted a full-time director.
Yes. So
that was the reason. If he had agreed to give up his Secretary Heavy Industries and said, no, I'll full-time do this, that would have been a different matter.
So you're saying your complaint was not that he found he did not act on the National Herald case. Your problem was that he was not full-time.
Absolutely. There was no case registered. Where is the question of my saying that he closed it?
No, but maybe he wasn't proactive enough for your satisfaction.
Well, that is a question of proactive and so on. The main point I had said, I never thought very highly of him. That is a fact. But I do know this much, that you can't have 2 jobs, particularly if you are an inefficient person.
So when you heard the Gandhis today speak about the Prime Minister personally, being behind the levelling of these charges and then talking about the letters that you've been writing to him, how do you see the government's approach? The government right now has said this is Dr. Swami's case, not ours. We didn't put a government lawyer there.
Correct.
It's Subramaniam Swami's case.
That is correct.
But the Congress is pointing
right.
to the communication between you and the Prime Minister, and they're saying none of this could have happened without the Prime Minister being on board.
Listen, I belong to the BJP. The Prime Minister is someone I campaigned for becoming Prime Minister. We know each other from 1972. If I see something wrong, I will write him a letter. But I never asked him that he should prosecute the National Herald. Asked them to produce a single letter where I said that please prosecute National Herald, give me the documents. Yes, I have filed complaints. If they don't proceed on that, I will certainly raise it. I filed a complaint with Mr. Jaitley on the income tax. Mr. Jaitley then had the matter registered. The Congress has withheld this fact from the courts. They learnt it the hard way.
What fact? What fact has been withheld?
The fact that there is an ongoing income tax investigation into the Congress party giving loans to associated journals.
And that was pointed out by you.
I certainly gave a complaint.
And that's why the Congress says that the government does have a role in this, and it's all based on Dr. Swami's complaints to the government.
If I bring to the knowledge of any authority that a crime has been committed, it is a job to investigate. That's how the whole PIL question, what happened in 2G, I wrote to the Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, he did nothing. I wrote him 5 letters, he did nothing. So I went to the court, I'm saying he's not acting. And then the court decided to take it up. That's how we do it.
All right, last question to you. What do you see happening next in this case? We now know that the Congress is going to approach the Supreme Court against the reference to criminality in the High Court verdict. What do you see happening next, and how far are you going to take this? What do you make of the Congress's kind of political walk through the court today? There was obviously a kind of optics at play as well today.
Congress has very poor legal advisors. They don't know when to cut their losses. They shouldn't have ever gone to the High Court. They should have fought it here. Now the High Court has gone into the weight of the evidence and said there is a prima facie case made out. It has weakened them. They can't oppose the High Court order anymore in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court will say, 2 courts have found prima facie case. Why are you coming to us? Go and face the trial. Now they are going on this thing that this will prejudice them. They let them try. They'll learn the hard way. They will only delay the process a bit. That's all.
All right, Dr. Swami, it's been an eventful day for you as well. Thank you so much for joining us live here on the Buck Stops here. Thanks very much. We'll be taking a quick break. You heard from all sides of the National Herald debate on this program today. But it brings us to the close of the program. We'll say goodbye to you. The news continues on the other side.